Pleasure in Presence is a practice that I designed to help you become wired for pleasure. I'm Emily, founder of Yoga for Sexual Wellness, and I am radically devoted to supporting women into their highest and most authentic sexual self. So pleasure in presence as a practice is quite simple. It's where you sit and you take time to perceive from a lens of pleasure and contentment. So it helps train the mind to perceive through a positive lens versus a negative lens. So we perceive the world, we experience the world through our five senses. And sometimes our perception becomes clouded by our judgmental mind. I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to get stuck in, negative thinking, like what's going wrong? What doesn't feel good? What could be better? What I don't like around me? And sometimes even, bonding with other people around what isn't right. Oh, the weather's crappy or this or that. I'm sure you can relate to that. So this practice can help kind of counter that negative tendency of mind into just observing what is nice. And it's nice because it's authentic to you. You don't have to whitewash your experience. You don't have to fake this way. You just have to find one positive to neutral mental comment about the world around you. So when we're going to do this practice, we can do it either formally by setting a time and using it as like a specific carved out meditation time, or you can do it informally, like when you're, sitting in the chair at the BMV or waiting in line, or waiting for your family member to get ready or your friend to get ready before you guys go out together. Anytime you have a few moments and you want to feel better, this is a perfect practice for you. So we're perceiving the world through our five senses. To practice pleasure in presence, we're going to start to relax the body as much as possible. You can sit up nice and tall because you feel good when you're relaxed. Sit up nice and tall so you can have some slow and deep breaths, not nervous breathing or anything like that. Relax the shoulders. And then, with the eyes open, you kind of glance around and let your eyes catch onto an object that's within your range of vision that you can find one positive thing to think about it. So it could be something like, I enjoy the color of the leaves on the tree. Okay, so once you have the positive thing, you're going to experience that in the mind, right? You're going to experience it as a thought. So we're going to receive that in the mind. Okay, I can get down with this color of the trees. Like, yeah, that's really nice right now. The lighting's really pretty. Whatever it is, all of the thoughts that start coming upon this object of your affection, you could say. But then, can we receive that pleasure, contentment into the heart? Oh, feel that on an even deeper level. The color of those leaves. And it's nice because when we bring that feeling into the heart, it creates this sort of loving non-attachment. No longer does that object need to be perfect or just that color of green in order for us to appreciate it. We're not trying to cling to what's there or become possessive around what's there. In the heart, we can kind of let all of that go. We can appreciate it and feel that contentment just as we are and just as it is. Okay, so we go from the mind into the heart, and then there's one more step. If you can, bring it into the body, down into the lower part of the belly. Okay, you're feeling just a simple ease from the enjoyment of that color of the leaves of the tree or whatever it is that you're perceiving. And start to feel that in the belly. It doesn't have to be big and profound. It can be really, really subtle. Something as simple as the color of the leaves on the tree. And then the feeling in the body is just a gentle sense of ease. So you may not, so once you're able to get that pleasure, contentment feeling from the mind, down into the heart, down into the belly, then you can choose to stay with that one object, or you can shift your awareness to another object within your perception. It could be not just something that you see with your eyes, something that you smell, something that you hear, a taste, a sound, any of the five senses, the comfort underneath of your tushy, if you're sitting down, or underneath of your feet, if you're standing. So you can shift to that next object and see where you can get with that. Okay, I can find one positive thought to think about this thing. Yeah, and that's true for me. I'm not forcing it. I'm cultivating it, but I'm not forcing it. Okay, that's true, that's believable. Now, move it down into the heart, where we can sort of like keep that object over there. We're still connected to it, but we're not possessive of it. We don't need it to be exactly the same for us to love it. We can just have this sort of like loving non-attachment. And then bringing that all the way down into the body, it really displays a willingness to receive the pleasure that's being offered to you through your sensory experience. So we're going to try to bring it into the mind, into the heart, and into the body. And that is the practice. It's really simple. So you might just sit there and do it for a couple of seconds, or you might do it for 5 to 10 minutes. You don't have to do it very long, but it will start to shift your mind and that lens of the mind to perceiving beauty and pleasure. In the work that I do, sometimes getting people to just admit that, something feels good, like I teach yoga, so if we're doing a forward bend and it's stretching out their legs or their back, yeah, it might be tense, but maybe we can get to it feeling good too. And sometimes just feeling good is hard. And when I can get somebody to say, yeah, that feels good, then I know we're getting somewhere. We're getting more into that pleasure language. So this practice, pleasure and presence, will help support the development of those pleasurable feelings in the body and the pleasurable language and just the way that we perceive the world. So our inner desires for pleasure and contentment can match the way our perception, that filter, that lens. It's like we're actually allowing pleasure to come inside. Now, sometimes we're in a room and we are surrounded by objects that are close to us, that we feel emotions about. Sometimes that might not be the best object to focus on because we can tend to have a clinging to those, like if it's a cherished emblem given to you by a lost loved one or something like that, that might make it a little bit more difficult to keep that sort of loving non-attachment. But sometimes focusing on those objects can actually open the heart even deeper if you are willing to feel that sort of loving non-attachment instead of that clinging, and loving deeply and enjoying deeply, but also letting go. So that's kind of the work here, right? It's like, let me just let go. Let me let go and sink into this natural state of pleasurable contentment. So I hope you enjoy the pleasure in presence practice. And it would mean a lot to me if you would like this video or share it with somebody who might benefit from recognizing the positive in their surroundings a little bit more. And every little step counts when you're on the journey of becoming wired for pleasure. If you want to learn to overcome dogma and shame and limiting beliefs around your sexuality, learn to weave your sexual and spiritual lives together and really step into your sexual power, check out my mini course called Ascend. There's a link in the description.